Okay, welcome everybody to this early session. It's a smooth start into the day because this is a non-technical talk. So you can relax a little bit, but not too much because the thing we are talking about is very important. I want to talk about elephants and mothers and other problems in the room. Let's see what this means. My name is Sabine Wojcieszak, and I'm Chief Consultant at GetNext IT. GetNext IT is a consulting company and helps IT and tech companies to improve their communication, to improve leadership. We address problems and issues in meetings and teamwork and all those stuff which has to do with human interaction. And I think it's a very important part because the human interaction is the basis for your success. And so that's what we are doing. On these topics, I was traveling around the world in the last year. You see all the conferences I have been last year. And yesterday, the new conference year started for me. Yesterday, I gave my first talk this year at Software Quality Days in Vienna. And in the afternoon, I came here to have in the evening the spectacular failure talk. And this morning is the last step of a very challenging 24 hours trip. 3 talks within 24 hours with all different topics. That was, quite interesting for me. I write a lot of articles in German as well as in English language. You can have a look. DevOps.com and InfoQ is in English. And so perhaps you want to check out what I'm writing about. Last year we have organized DevOps Days Kiel. The first time that DevOps Days was in Kiel was quite a success, and we are going to run this event in 2018 again. And it's a lot about culture, a lot about tools, but it's a community event. Not so big like NDC Conferences, only about 120 people or something like that. Really community event. When you want to stay informed about my work, just connect over these possibilities. This year, I'm going to start a book project about agile communication. And if you want to stay informed about that, you can also choose these possibilities. And if you want to Google my work, please use both names. My former name was Sabine Wojcieszak, and a lot of my work, my videos and articles, you will find under the old name. So both is possible. To be honest, I'm not a technical woman. I have no roots in techniques. And when I entered a few years ago the tech world, I was very surprised about all the things you are interested besides tech. You are very proud, keen on movies, on superhero movies, and so on. And I think Nerds Rising, that's a slogan we found when we were in Vienna in a window. And so I said, oh, that's a good picture for my talks. I need this one. And when we want Nerds rising into the new world, the new agile world, the new world of working together, this here is very important. When we talk about changing things, and I'm talking about the human part of your work, and it has a lot to do with change, there are 3 attitudes. I need to change something, I want to change something, and I change something. I think you can imagine that I change something is the best attitude. Not talking long about it, just doing it. The bad part is I need to change something. That's someone other who is telling you, so now you have to do something, and you do not really want it. And that's the hard way. So just for the introduction. My first discovery in tech world, beside all those superheroes, was that people in tech love animals. Has anyone of you ever been to DevOps Days? When you have been to DevOps Days, you have heard about a lot of animals there, haven't you? No? Where have you been? To Israel? Tel Aviv? Okay. Okay, I have been to Paris, to Amsterdam, to Tel Aviv, and Kiel. Wherever I've been to DevOps Days, they talk a lot about animals. I will show you. I call it the zoo of tech, and you will find about that on the internet too. They talk about cats. They talk about monkeys. They have dogs, and I put the dinos in, goats, donkeys, horses. What makes me really wonder was unicorns. A lot of software developers, logical thinking people are talking a lot about unicorns. Have you ever seen a real unicorn? I just know these pink ones for the girls to play with and so. And when I heard the first time about unicorns, I said, oh my God, where am I? Is this really a tech conference? But yes, it was. And they talk about elephants. And I thought when I prepared this talk, I can add another animal, and that is the moose. It's not my idea with the moose. It comes from a book. I will tell you about it later. So, I'm sorry, but I think I won't tell you anything new today, because what I'm talking about is so-called common sense. But why do I talk about common sense? The reason is that we all talk about common sense, but when you look at reality, it's really rare. So my goals are to make you think about your personal situation, in your team, in your company, in your private life, perhaps. I want to motivate you to change something on this personal situation. I want that you remember my talk, my words. And I want that you talk about it with your colleagues, with your friends. You do not have to be of the same opinion than I am. It's okay when you talk about it and discuss it. And that makes it possible that common sense becomes some kind of common practice. That's the first step to make common sense a common practice. And I think that's very important, because a lot of teams struggle of these issues I will talk about. So now it's time for mooses. Who of you has ever seen a moose in reality? Yeah, they are really shy guys, these mooses, and most of the time you know there should be somewhere a moose around, but it's hard to discover them. Sometimes you are the lucky one and you see one in reality. We have mooses around everywhere. And I tell you a true story. In one company I worked for a long, long time ago, we had an accountant, we call her Eve in this case. Eve once had a love affair with the junior CEO, but this was also a long time ago, but they were still friends. This could be a moose. And we will see if this moose is a good one or a bad one in the story. The moose is there, but it could be good or bad. She had a direct superior, her CFO. This CFO was not part of the family who founded the company and who ran the company. He has no conflict skills. Whenever a conflict arises, he closes the door of his office and said, "Not my task. They should clear it up on their own." And he was not very interested in the team. For him, it was not important who was working on the team. So it doesn't make sense to struggle with all those fights in this department. That's really an elephant when you have a manager who is not interested in the team, when you have a manager who has not no conflict skills. That's really an elephant, because it's his task to clear up situations. It's his task to make a good atmosphere again so that the team can work. Eve, she has a colleague. And this colleague admires her, pays a lot of attention to Eve, appreciated her, and she was very loyal to Eve. And Eve pays her with information she got from her friend. They were still friends. And you can imagine the junior CEO knows a lot of things which is not publicly spoken about. So she has a lot of information, and she pays her colleague with this information and had the feeling of being very, very important. But there were other colleagues too, and she had not such a good relationship with all these other colleagues, but they had to work together. This is another move. We will see if it is a good one or a bad one. One day, Eve came to her CFO and she complained about a lot of overtime she had to do, and that she's the only one with all those excellent qualifications, and she's not able to do all those work any longer. So what did he do? He came over and asked me, Sabine, we need a new accountant with very special skills, and we need it ASAP. Okay, that was my job at that time. And I looked for a new accountant. I found the first one with very excellent references. She was there for 3 months, and then we had to fire her. Because the feedback was that her references, her skills were not good enough. Okay, could happen. We found another one. Also very, very excellent references. All the skills on paper we needed. But 3 months later, the same thing. Feedback was, no, she's not good enough for us. We need another one. That was really hard for me, because I thought, okay, 2 ladies with excellent references, not good enough for us. That's strange. But the manager told me, search for another one. Okay. I found a third one. This lady was a little bit older, more experienced in life, and she had the situation that her husband was earning a lot of money. So she did not really need to work. She wanted this job because she liked to be an accountant, but it was not necessary for her. So she started the job, and after 4 months, she came to me and said, Sabine, I will leave the job. I said, what? What's going on? Yeah, the atmosphere is that bad. Whenever I'm not there, they put information, tasks, and what I have to do in my cupboard on the bottom of it, underneath all other paper. And then a week later they came to me and say, hey, why haven't you done the work I gave to you? So really mobbing, really bad mobbing on the job. I couldn't do anything about her leaving the company, but I was wondering if this is a good idea to get new accountants again and again, and if they really wanted a new accountant. That was the question which came up to me. So I found out that there was really a big elephant in the room. These 2 ladies had a good relationship. The other ladies didn't have one. I asked all the people around, what's going on in your department? They said, oh, those 2 are just hanging around together and making their own stuff, and whenever they talk to us, they treat us in a bad way. And that was what happened with the new ones. And the third one, she wanted to work because she liked to work, and she said, no, in this atmosphere, that's not a good idea for me. That's not fun. So I leave. And for her, it was okay. So I went back to the CFO and said, we have to do anything about it. That's not the way it works. We can't look for new accountants again and again and again. You have to find out what Eve really wants. And you have to talk to Eve. That's not the way how to treat someone in the team. But no conflict ability, knowing that she had a very good relation to the junior CEO and did not know which consequences it would have to talk to her, what do you think has he done? Nothing. He said, okay, then we won't get any accountant. We will pay her more money. And she is satisfied. So she had caused a lot of trouble and got more money for it. Cool, isn't it? The easy way for the CFO, not what she really wanted. I think she wanted to hear, oh, Eve, you're the best, please do it for us, and so on. Yeah, but the signal which is sent out to all others in the team is a catastrophe. She can treat us in a very bad way and earns more for it. So all those moves which were in the room, which could have turned into good one, turned into bad one and become big elephants. So what is a moose? A moose is from the book Ghosts in the Project Management by Dennis Perkins. And a moose itself is not good, not bad. It's about power, career, relationship, and failures and weaknesses. So the 4 legs of the moose. So, and we have to see what happens with the moose. When we look at career, it can turn out into a bad thing. When someone is striving for a good career to go higher and higher and higher, it could happen that this person knows no bounds. All the person is focusing on is career, nothing else. And it could lead to self-exploitation. The good side is that someone who wants a good career also says, okay, I want a good work-life integration, a positive atmosphere so that work is also fun. Could be both when you're striving for career, the bad one or the good side of it. Power. Power is an important motivation for a lot of people, and it can lead to greed. Just to have power. No other purpose. Just to have power over people. Or you can use power as some kind of influence to change something. Relationship. Usually the relationship itself is nothing bad. But it becomes some kind of bad thing when we talk about corruption, nepotism, or taking own advantages. Just using my relationship for my own purpose. Or I can use my relationship for the best of all. When we want to change something in the team, and I am the person who has the best relationship to the manager, perhaps it's up to me to go over and say, hey, boss, let's talk about a new idea we have. And perhaps my good relationship to this boss is the best way to make him or her think about this new idea. And we have the part of failure and weaknesses. The bad side is try to hide those failures and start the blame game. Or seeing failures and weaknesses as a chance for myself and for the whole team. So a moose can be good or bad, can turn into good or bad. But sometimes it turns into the bad side. And so I may introduce you to my co-speaker. Guess what his name is? No idea? Dumbo. And the elephant enters the room. To be honest, I like elephants, but I don't like these elephants I'm now going to talk about. Situation 1. There's an elephant. Do you see the elephant too? Huh? Any idea how we can get him out of the stage? Can you please help me?
Pull him out.
Come, try.
Get off the stage.
Does not work. Come on, help me, please. Perhaps you can carry him away together.
Yeah?
Yeah, come. I take back. You, okay?
Yeah.
And let's put him over there. Come on. So he's far away. Thank you very much. Sometimes you can get out an elephant by realizing that there's an elephant and asking someone, hey, what can we do to get this elephant out of the room? And when you start early enough and the elephant is that small, it's easy. But most of the time, we say, ooh, there's an elephant. Better don't look at this, because if I look at this, I have to do something. I don't know what to do, so no, I won't tell anybody about it. If anybody else sees the elephant, they can do something about it, so not me. But when you're working on a team, it's not only about you. There may be a colleague which sees the elephant too. And this colleague has seen that I have seen the elephant, and he says, oh, Sabine has seen the elephant too, but she hasn't done anything. She hasn't said anything. She's more experienced than I, so I better say anything. It's not my task. So. Or there's another colleague who has also seen the elephant and who has also seen that I have seen the elephant, but this colleague does not want to keep quiet about it. And perhaps this colleague starts the game of Chinese whisper. You all know Chinese whisper? Yeah. Why does this happen? One reason could be that people are overstrained with the situation of realizing that there's an elephant in the room. Or they have no idea what to do about it, and it's always bad to talk about a thing and you have no idea how the solution could be. Or they have made bad experiences in addressing such an elephant. Perhaps there is no trust in the team. What happened when I talk about it? Remember, the CFO has no trust. What happened to him when he talks to his accountant? Or they were afraid of the consequences. What could happen after it? Another one will do it for me. Rely on others is always a good idea. They feel not responsible for the team. So, what have I to do with this? Perhaps they are feeling that they are the wrong person. They are more experienced people who can manage this better than I. Perhaps there's not a really team and no interest in it, or they are following own goals. So, I have other issues. That's not my issue. Let's get it off. But the most problematic thing is that you have no transparency. And that's the most possible reason why these things happen. The elephant in the room is the issue of transparency. They don't want you to know anything, so they don't share anything. Is a quote of Michael Frunkin, professor of law. And he said this elephant in the room is an issue of transparency. When there's no transparency, these elephants have the possibility to grow. What happens when Chinese whisper starts? The results are they cost a lot of time. How long is it ago that you have played Chinese whisper? I think it's not that long ago. It's what happens all the time in offices, day by day. But these Chinese whisper games cost a lot of time. They cost a lot of energy. You spend a lot of your energy, your brain energy, in talking about these topics, and they cause another wall of confusion. And wrong things which are delivered, you know, when you give an information from one person to another, the original information is not the same as the result at the end of this chain. But this wrong information is believed as a real fact. So that's very dangerous. When someone tells you a thing, gives you an information which is wrong, but you think it's right, and you behave according to this wrong fact, it causes a lot of trouble. So, as the time goes by, our elephant costs a lot of resources, grows, and produces shit. It's always the same. You put energy in, and in the end, something else comes out. And the elephant grows bigger because of all those energy and produces much more shit. Now it's harder to get the elephant out of the room because it's bigger and, it's not that easy anymore. And sometimes the elephant becomes a real grown-up one with a good working shit production. The whole room filled up with elephant and shit. If you have this grown-up elephant, it costs a lot of your energy. It smells because of all the shit. It is a bad example for all the people around. It makes the original situation worse, because at the beginning we had a small one and now we have a real big one. And when you now want to get the elephant out of the room, the door is not enough anymore. You have to tear down the walls. It's not that easy anymore to get him out of the room. And now, please, replace the word elephant with the word problem. And the whole story I told you will also make sense. The elephant in the room is the unaddressed problem. What kind of problem ever? Now you may think, problem. We don't say problem anymore. I know a lot of colleagues of mine who are teaching communication are telling you, no, don't use the word problem. It's a bad word. It's not motivating. Use the word challenge. I think that's bullshit. Because when situations are bad, we don't have a challenge, we have a problem. Houston, we have a problem. No, I have to say, Houston, we have a challenge. No. That does not work. A problem means we have to act now. A challenge is, okay, we can go on tomorrow. No, we can't go on tomorrow. When we see a problem, We have to act as soon as possible. To be honest, we people tend to make a problem out of everything. Not everything we call a problem is really a problem. Some of them are challenges. But we have still problems. And when we have a problem, we have to name it. When there's an elephant in the room, introduce him, is what Randy Pausch once said. And I think that's very important. When we realize in our team that we have a problem, then we have to introduce this problem and say, hey, let's talk about it. Otherwise, you won't find a solution for this. Who of you has or had an unaddressed elephant in the room within the team, the company? Oh, okay. So, sorry about that, but with this unaddressed elephant, you will stuck in mediocrity. You have to do something about it. You have to work on a solution to get the elephant out of the room. Otherwise, you will always find ways to work around this elephant, and this costs time, and this costs a lot of your capacity. And success has not this time to work around. This shit causes bad decisions because you always look for a solution around those problems. It costs a lot of resources, and these resources in a team are time, money, and motivation. And having such an unaddressed elephant in the room, it's really a question about motivation. You don't want to go to your office anymore. You don't want to do this stuff. And in the end, it could cost people. And believe me, those people who will leave the team are most of the time the very good people, the people you need to find a solution, the people you need to get this elephant out of the room. Those people who know how good they are those who leave first because they say, oh, I don't want this anymore. I just want to have fun at work, and that's not the surrounding where I can have this. So having an elephant in the room could really be a problem of motivation, of having the right people in the team who can solve these problems. But people love to talk about problems. Sorry, people love to talk about others' problems. So, on the one hand, we love to talk about problems, but it's better to talk about other people's problems because then I'm not in charge to do anything. So, and it's so cool. I can say, hey, have you seen? They have an elephant in the room. Cool. Let's have a look what they are going to do about that. And my own one is standing right in front of me. But that's not that interesting because I would have to change perhaps, or I would have to do some things I don't like. So it's better to talk about the things other people have to fight with. But there's a kind of loop, a negative loop. A wrong decision causes a loss of motivation. Loss of motivation is a loss of responsibility. This causes a loss of corporate identity, causes a lot of loss of engagement, and loss of success, and leads to new wrong decisions, and so it goes on and on and on. So when you rear an elephant, it's a good idea if you want to get a company down. Sometimes this happens. If you ignore these problems, they become really big ones, so you have to do something about it. Who has to do something about it? Who is the authorized person to do something about these unaddressed problems? Is it just the manager? Who's it? You are smiling. Why are you smiling? Who is it? Who is in charge there? Yeah? Everyone could be in charge. Everyone who has seen the elephant and says, okay, that's not a good idea to have this zoo in our office. Let's do something about it. Who's playing golf with you? I haven't been in such a bad situation yet because I haven't played on such a course, but I can imagine how hard it is when your ball is lying in the sand with this big wall in front of you. But no matter how bad the situation is, no direct view to the pin, you have to do something. Otherwise, you can quit the game. So it's up to you to be the active game changer. And that's it in real life too. When we are in front of a situation which is very hard for us, yeah, we can wait until another one comes and helps us out. Or we could choose the way to be the active game changer. And I think that's the best way. Being dependent on other people who help you out, okay, could happen. But what if there's no one who will help you? It's up to you to help you. But there are some most hated questions. The first one is, why is the situation as it is? It's a question for the reasons or the origin. What is your role in it? Which is your part in this story, your responsibility? And what can you do to solve the problem? It's about the solution. But all these three questions leads to one thing. We have to change something about it. Time for action. And this means we had to get off our comfort zone. Our usual habits perhaps have to change. The habit to say nothing. And we have to adopt a new habit to speak up loud and say, hey, let's talk about it. What can we do? We have to find a solution. Even if it hurts. Finding solutions for big problems sometimes hurt. But better it hurts now, as if all the team struggles with failures and other problems. It's like a trip into the dark. We never know what's lying ahead of us because we can't see what will happen when we talk about these problems, what will happen when we try to solve it. But when we stay there, the elephant becomes the chance to grow up and become very strong. The bad thing about it is that there's no one size fits all solution, because each problem is a very individual problem, and each team is very individual. So it's up to the team, up to the individuals to find a solution which is good for them. I have some first aid tips, what you can do on the first hand. The first important thing is to open eyes and ears to be able to realize those small little elephants, to act as soon as possible. The next thing is to treat problems in an open way. Not this Chinese whisper game, but talked about it in the team in an open way, and so that everyone knows, okay, we all have seen this elephant, and now it's okay to speak about it. As soon as possible. No blame games. It does not make a sense to find out who is the one who causes this problem. That's not what we are looking for. No blame games. Facts and emotions. On the one hand, we have facts. What is the fact about this problem? And which emotions are caused by these problems. And in this case, the emotions are very, very important, because these emotions, these bad emotions, leads to being demotivated and so on. So facts and emotions. Although you are all developers, and although some of you may think that emotions are not important, in this case, emotions are really important. Yeah? On the first hand, find a quick solution, kind of first aid solution. What can we do now? But then, please, try to discover the genesis and discover the why. Don't do it like a lot of doctors are doing. When you come with a symptom to a doctor, they give you some pill to make the symptom go away. But when you haven't discovered the origin of these symptoms, some other symptoms will pop up. And that's what happens when you do not try to discover where this problem originally comes from. On the first hand, a quick solution, but then go deeper and try to find out what is the real reason that we have had this problem, and then start to address it. And one important thing to do all those stuff is communication. Improve your communication so that you can talk in an open way, that you can find out which are the reasons for it, and that you can find solutions together. Here's some classified information for you. Psst, don't tell your manager that I have told you. Oh, is this a situation you want to be in? No? This guy loves the situation. He's sleeping together with these lions and so on. He's able to do because he's the expert. He knows them very well. He's the expert in it. And for you it is, if sometimes the problem is too big to solve it on your own, ask for help from outside. That's the reason why I asked you for help to bring this elephant away. It was too big for me. I could not manage it on my own. William Edward Demings once said, "The transformation requires a view from outside." Transformation is a real big problem, a real big challenge. Depends on the company you are in. And when you are stuck in such a big problem, you sometimes have this tunnel view. You can't see what's going on at the right or the left hand, and so it's not easy to find the good solution. And when you have someone from the outside, it can be a consultant, can be a good friend or whatever, it's easier to get another view on these problems and find another solution. But you can do something to prevent getting elephants in the room. And the first thing is that you find common goals for your team. The second is that you value commitments higher than consensus. Finding commitments you all want to work for. When you adopt a good feedback culture in your company, if feedback which comes very soon, it is much easier to address upcoming problems. Culture is an important thing. Culture of transparency. You have seen elephants in the room are an issue of transparency. Trust is very important. I just talk about problems when I trust my team. When I have no trust, I have fear of consequences, so I won't say anything. a culture of a positive failure culture, so that failures are welcome, that failures are a thing to learn of, and find values for your teams. When you have good values, when you have a good culture, people within the team will do nearly everything to defend those good culture. They won't let bad things happen because they really like to work in this environment and they want to stay there. Most of us have sometime experienced how hard it is to work in an environment where there's no trust, where there's no transparency, and where there's no fun at work. So when we have found a team, a company, where we have a positive culture with all those topics, then we will do everything to keep it because we like it. The earlier, the better. Right from the start, okay? It's not possible everywhere because you're sometimes already within a team, so that does not mean that you can't start with it now, but the earlier, the better. Be prepared for this adventure. Discover new opportunities, and when you are able to address upcoming problems as soon as possible, you are on the way to continuous improvement. Because addressing problems also means to improve. And with continuous improvement, you can leave mediocrity behind you. And the way is prepared for more success. So, you want to make a difference? Just start and keep going. Like this face in the old tree. Keep smiling, and thank you for your attention and your time. Any questions? Yeah, it's somehow like a philosophical talk, so yeah. Enjoy your day. Perhaps you will see me later. Thank you.